Bring it.
Build it.
Pass it.
Twirl it.
We got it.
We got us.
We know what we need because our power lies in us.
Our health.
Our wisdom.
Our ancestors.
Our joy.
Our love.
Our hands.
Our imagination.
And our collective action. When everything is on the line,
we bring it all.
We bring it to the front line.
Hello, 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 everyone. That's right, we got us. Welcome to the second Election Defense Mass Volunteer Call presented by the Frontline. My name is Cici Battle. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm a brown-skinned, blackity-black woman with big curly hair, large black and white glasses, and brown lipstick. For those who know me, know that I believe that we deserve to frolic. We deserve to rest and play and be, and we also deserve to be able to cast our vote in our democracy with joy, dignity, and ease. It's for that reason I am so excited to serve as y'all's host today. So a couple of housekeeping things, just so we're all on the same accord. Their ASL interpretation is available on screen throughout the program, and you can find access to simultaneous Spanish interpretation by calling the number, you'll see it at the bottom of your screen. To access captions for this event, click the CC button on your video player. All right, and now that we got that out the way, it's time to get started. I'm gonna kick it to Angela Peoples and Greisa Martinez to talk about the Frontline, where we've been, and why we fight to protect the democracy that is ours. Angela, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cici, my friend, my dear. As Cici said, my name is Angela Peoples. I am the campaign director of the Election Defenders, and I'm so grateful to be here with you all tonight. I am a brown-skinned woman with purple lipstick, long black braids, and a black hoodie with the South logo on my chest. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm coming to you tonight to talk to you a little bit about the Frontline. We're here. We are saying, as Cici said, we got us. We show up to the Frontline, and I'm excited to talk with you and to my friend Greisa, who we'll introduce in just a moment, about who the Frontline is. For a bit of context, the Frontline is a joint project of Working Families Party, the Movement for Black Lives Electoral Justice Project, United We Dream, and the Rising Majority. We formed in the wake of the 2020 racial uprisings to come together and create a pathway for all folks, everyone that took to the streets to demand justice for Black lives, to come together to have an impact and to be effective in our election and in our democracy. So to talk to us a little bit more about the Frontline, I'm going to invite my friend Greisa to the stage because she was there at the beginning when the Frontline was formed.
So good to be on. Good to see you.
Welcome, my dear. Greisa, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Buenas noches. Good evening, everyone. My name is Greisa Martinez Rosas. I use pronouns like she, her, and ella. I'm a documented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. And I have the honor, the pleasure to lead United We Dream and United We Dream Action as the nation's largest immigrant youth-led network. I am a light-skinned Mexican woman with long brown hair, red lipstick, and dimples that my mom gifted me. And I'm so excited to be here with all of you this evening and this afternoon.
Yes, we are so excited to have you here. I see you with these frames, Greisa. I'm loving it. So I think just to give some folks some more context, we're here. This is the second Election Defender mass call that we're having this year. We're back from the work that we did in 2020 to defend our people for another election cycle. I wonder if you can talk about what made the Election Defenders so special in 2020.
Well, Angela, we witnessed and all contributed to the largest social movement in U.S. history, taking to the streets in every corner of this country in defense for Black lives. And Election Defenders was, and the Frontline was a manifestation of our shared vision that we understood the importance of coming together and building a united front. That in Spanish we say, "Tú eres mi otro yo," you are my other me, and if and ensuring that we were like taking to the streets in defense of each other with the leadership of Black people, which is where United We Dream Action wants to live in, wants to build in, and wants to move forward the conversation. So what it meant, just to be honest, is that a realization of knowing that the fight for immigrant rights is a fight for racial justice, and that when Black people are free, all of us are free. And as you all remember, in 2020, it was really scary. I remember being in calls like these, talking about the political violence that we might be facing at the polls. I remember having conversations with the UWD members about ICE and CBP agents, which are people that are whose sole purpose is to detain and deport us, being near polling locations. And the election defenders' magic was that we understood that our biggest and best interjection in that was joy, and it was rigor, and it was discipline, and it was these fly like election defender like jackets, and it was people coming to these trainings and saying that they were going to show up. And on that day, I remember feeling so proud of all of the parties and the dances and fighting really political violence with love and with joy.
I love that. Fighting political violence with love and joy. I feel deeply that that's how we will win. So we talked about the magic that was 2020. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about why you think protecting democracy right now is so important.
It's important because our lives are at stake. We are seeing the clarity of this moment, Angela, that there's people that whose vision is for someone like you to not be here, for someone like me to not be here and have the opportunity to breathe and walk freely. And that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about defending democracy, is defending one another and defending our ability to govern. For us, the people that feel at UWD, we say, those most directly impacted, those that are closest to the pain, are also closest to the solutions, the innovations, and the breakthroughs. And when anyone wants to disenfranchise people that have the ability to vote, anyone that wants to keep undocumented people from reaching citizenship so that we don't have access to the ballot box, is taking us further and further away. So we're doing this because it's our lives, it's about our future and the generations of people to come, of the babies that are still, inside of their mother's bodies, that we're doing that for them. And so it also means having rigor of like deciding to be governing, or people that govern in this moment. And that means having programs like Election Defenders and others that are saying like we're standing up in the front line, which is so exciting. And obviously there was a good name for the front line.
we meant what we said when we said the front line, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I just love your sentiment, Greisa, about being willing to govern, and being willing to not just demand power, but to hold power and to flex it and to use it for ourselves and for the future. You are, of course, the executive director of United We Dream Action, and want for you to tell folks, how can we support United We Dream right now? I know that there's a lot of things shifting for our family that are undocumented or are documented. And so want you to tell us, how can we support United We Dream right now?
Angela, this is why I follow you, because in the midst of all this stuff, you're asking me how to show up. And I think that that's what it means to be in solidarity, and like not just empathy, but like moving together. So thank you for the question. I guess to take a little bit of a step back, what is really grounding United We Dream in this moment is the understanding that January 6th, when people stormed the Capitol, it wasn't a surprise to us, right? Like we had seen signs of this in many different ways. And there's a history of this country of suppressing political power of Black and Brown people, in particular Indigenous people. And what we're facing at United We Dream when the courts are saying that close to 700,000 undocumented people like myself that are protected under DACA or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and they're saying that it's unlawful and they want to get rid of it. It's not disconnected from the same people that want to put more and more Black people into jails and detention centers. It's not disconnected from the people in Texas that waged a war against our ability to choose what to do with our bodies as women, or the people that tell us not to say gay and be in our full pride. And so UWD at this moment, we are in a moment of great urgency. The courts have ruled against DACA, and we're calling on Democratic leadership, on people that we have elected, that we went out in 2020 to ensure that the votes were casted in democracy's favor, to actually deliver what they promised and protect millions of people by granting citizenship. And so we're having a week of action on November 14th. We want people to plug in and join us by following us at United We Dream Action, or texting the squad at 877-877, which is a way in which people can plug in. But it's not disconnected. All of these things are a part of a larger strategy. But the beauty of this moment is that we're also not disconnected, and that we're plotting and conspiring in each other's favor every single day. And I'm glad, and I'm happy for everybody that's joining the Election Defenders, because when you do that, you support undocumented people like me.
Absolutely. And that is, as you follow me, Greisa, I follow you, and I will always show up for you. We will always show up for you and our family at United We Dream. Because as you said, the lives and the impacts on Black and Black folks, it also happens to impact immigrant folks. There are Black immigrants. We know that our experiences, our struggles are tied. They are connected, and we cannot, they're inseparable. And so I'm so grateful that you joined us tonight. I'm grateful for your leadership as always, as a part of the Frontline. And we'll always stand in solidarity with you and the movement that you'll continue to lead. Can you let folks know how they can get in touch with you and to stay connected to United We Dream?
Yeah, so join us by following at United We Dream on Twitter and Instagram, texting the squad to 877-877. And saying yes to being part of the Election Defenders. We're rolling with the program. We're really proud of the work that Angela is leading, and for her to leading us. And so if you want to stay connected, join the Election Defenders, and that's the best way to do it.
Thank you, Greisa. Appreciate you so much, sister. Before we get into talking a little bit more about the Election Defenders program this year and how you all can throw down with us, I want to just show you a little bit of the magic that happened in 2020. So take a look.
Okay, guys, I'm going over here and get my judge. I got my grown folks' hair on. I got my savage clothes on. I'm ready for this damn heat, and I'm ready for these people, because I'm going to vote.
Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote? Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote? Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote?
We are monitoring the election to make sure everything goes all right. And we're going to do it right. And then we got protection with us if any trouble. Come on. We have monitor.
That's me.
Yeah.
Miss Jackson.
This is the NAACP. Miss Jackson. The oldest one in the game. All right.
All right.
Because of you, and it's all because of you, baby.
I've already told all my friends and family to vote, and now I'm out here making sure that the people in line to do what they do, their energy is high, their spirits is lifted so that we can get our voices heard. We cannot complain about what's wrong if we're not going to do nothing about it. We have the power, we have voices, and people are actually listening at this point.
Come on, come on, come on. Don't you want to vote? Yes, I want to vote.
Come on, come on, come on. Okay? Come on, come on, come on. We save us.
I love that video. I love that video too. My favorite part is the the lady who said, "I got my grown up hair on." My girl, yes, ma'am. Because we are serious about voting. We don't come with our regular hair, our regular do. We getting the grown woman hair on. Period. Exactly.
Period.
You are so modeling for us tonight. Thank you, Miss.
It's the joy from me. So listen, I hope y'all are feeling as inspired, as touched, as fired up as I am after watching that video. And I hope this serves as a reminder that we deserve to cast our vote in our democracy with joy, with dignity, and with ease, okay? And to bring it home, I'm so excited to have a conversation with my homegirl, the Angela Peoples, who y'all met earlier, to really talk about what is the election defense program. So I have a couple questions for you, AP.
Okay, I'm ready.
I need you to break it down for us because we're going to send this video to our cousins, to our aunties, them who want to know what's popping. So tell us about the election defenders and what is it and how specifically does it meet the moment that we're in right now in 2022 in midterm elections?
So, you know, as Greisa and I talked about, right, what we saw and heard and experienced in 2020 and in 2021, frankly, was really scary. It was unprecedented. It was a challenge to our democracy that I think is fair to say has not been experienced in decades. And so what we did in 2020 was to really bring people to the polls. And for this program this year, we are rising to the occasion once again. I think one of the things that I feel most excited about and most grateful about for this program is the training that we're offering for folks. So as we know, their elections are not small feats. It takes a lot to get the ballots to the locations, to get the locations decided. Even before, right, we get to that moment, there's all types of legislation, negotiation, people coming in to make sure that the election happens. And so we are grateful for our poll workers, the poll watchers, the folks that step in to do the kind of back end work of the elections. But we also know, especially this year, as there's lots of new laws on the books to make it harder in some places to vote, to make it harder for folks that are doing get out the vote efforts, you know, GOTV, as we call it for shorthand, make it harder for those folks to do their jobs. We know that what's necessary is for people to be trained in keeping that energy high, what it means to look out for each other. When we say we keep each other safe, we mean it. And so what we're doing with this election defenders program, in addition to being in community with state-based organizations that are doing the work to turn voters out, to make sure that people have the information that they need, we are also recruiting and training hundreds of volunteers to be at these polling locations to make sure that we can bridge the gap, right? So that people that are showing up, they see those long lines. They might even be thinking about the news that they're hearing about people potentially showing up to intimidate voters, to challenge their vote, we're going to be there to stand in that gap and to make sure that people are trained in skills like de-escalation, in skills like crowd control, and really thinking about this from a perspective of voter care. We are there to take care of each other, and to make sure that we can get to the finish line of exercising our right to this democracy.
I love that. And I love the focus on voter care, especially Greisa mentioned earlier that the folks that we're talking about look like you and I, look like the folks on the call. And if we think about why this is important, especially in this context, we're still in a pandemic. I don't care what nobody says, right?
Absolutely.
People are trying to feed their families. And the least we can do is to be able to experience something that is our right joyfully. Thank you so much for bringing that home. I have another question for you now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you bring it home? You mentioned that, some laws have changed and defending elections are crucial, but can you explain to us why is defending our elections crucial right now? Every election, right? It's like this election, this election, this election. Why is this crucial right now? And what makes this particular midterm cycle so unique?
Well, I will say one, I think it's important that people recognize that voting is just one step in how we show up and protect our communities, right? This is a very much a vote and space, right? We're not telling you to just, don't boo, vote. Go ahead and boo, but also we need you to vote.
And vote. Okay.
And vote. Go ahead and do both. That's cool. But seriously, in this election cycle, we all had those images from January 6th ingrained in our minds, right? We have the images of folks that did not want to honor the will of the people. They did not want to honor the results that were certified, that were verified, that were processed through the courts. They wanted to push back in ways that were beyond what I could ever have imagined, just to be very real with you. Those people and those supporters, folks that want to deny the election results, they're not just continuing to try to deny election results. They're on the ballot this year.
Say that. Can you repeat that? Rewind.
Let me just take it back for you. Those folks that tried to, in 2020 and 2021, that tried to deny the will of the people through violence are now on the ballot. And those are the people, and our good friend Inse with the New Georgia's Project has said this time and time again, those people that are trying to get elected this year are the same people that if they win, they will be the decision makers in 2024.
Come on.
So it is not hyperbole. It is not a game. It is not just, talking points to say that this election will have an impact for decades to come. Because again, the people who want to say that, decide whose votes do and don't count, whose perspective does and doesn't matter.
Come on.
Those people are on the ballot. They're trying to get in power to decide how elections are administered, who gets to vote into the future, right? And so the good news is here in for now, and we made sure that this was a reality in 2020, the voters decide. The voters decide who our elected leaders are. The voters decide who is in power in our state capitals, in our city halls, and in Washington, D.C. And what we need to do as voters and as election defenders this cycle is to make sure that that remains true, that the voters decide who is in power.
Period. Like you said when you started, elections build off one another. That's making me think about in 2016, when everyone was so focused on the president, no one talked about why it was so important and what the president controls. And we saw how, the court changed. And when the court changed, certain decisions didn't work for the majority, right? So I think you're pointing and helping us connect the dots that we know we may hear, oh, this election is important. This election is important. Every election is important because they build off of one another. But your point about January 6th, that those folks who stormed the Capitol are on the ballot, y'all, I think we deserve a country better than that. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
One more question. Just kidding. Two more questions. We getting juicy. I got more. Okay. You bringing it so juicy. I got some more. Okay. So you talked about the election defenders, the volunteers that you will be training to make sure to do crowd control and to make sure the voters are cared for. What will these election defenders be doing once they're trained by the Frontline?
Yes, so this is a great question. This year, our election defenders are going to be trained. Then they're going to get connected directly to organizations in states across the country, groups like We the People in Michigan, groups like New Georgia Project in Georgia, groups like Florida Rising in Florida, and many others all across the country. That we are going to make sure that you get connected directly to those folks. One, because we know that they understand where the different fault lines are, where the key places are where we need to have election defenders mobilized, but also because we know that power needs to start locally. And we really want to make sure that as we're building this program, the Election Defenders is a national program. We're dedicated to building with folks in key states, but we also know that we're recruiting volunteers from all across the country. And we know that while we're recruiting nationally and building a national program, that we need to make sure that people are connected to the power that's being built in their state. And so what we'll do is when you sign up to join an election defender training, you get trained by our amazing training team. Those trainings, by the way, are incredible. It's some of the best content and the most fun that even I've had as someone who does this all the time. These trainings are a really good time. So once you get trained, we're going to connect you with an organization in your state, some people that are in your community so that you can be a part of an election defenders team. When we say we take care of each other and we keep each other safe, we're not going to send you out there on your own. We're going to send you out there as a part of a team, as a part of a movement, as a part of a cohesive ecosystem that understands that all of the different levers at play in order to move this election forward.
I love that. And I love how juicy is. We are practicing what we're preaching. The trainings are fun. The polls will be fun. Absolutely. Because we deserve that. We deserve it.
That's right.
So if y'all watching in different places, I want you to give us some feelings, some emojis, some exclamation points. Tweet us. Let us know how you're feeling. Yes. But I can guess what people are thinking. How can folks sign up to be election defenders? Who are you looking for? Let us know.
We're looking for you. You, for who's watching this. We're looking for you, Cici. Well, we already went through this, Cici, but we're looking for you too. The best way to get connected to election defenders is to go to bit.ly/defend2022. bit.ly/defend22. And that once you sign up to training, you'll come to a training. We have them every Tuesday. We have our first responder trainings every Tuesday. We say we're preparing people to be first responders to democracy. So you'll go through that really awesome training. There's also another level of training if you want to get a bit of deeper skills, our de-escalation training, right? You want to level it up, you know what I'm saying? Go to the de-escalation training. And then you'll be a part of our crew. You'll be connected to the organizations. You'll be connected to election defenders in your state. And you'll be able to get the information that you need to show up on election day. We're also going to hook you up with some lovely swag. I don't know if y'all saw that video.
Okay.
We have our volunteers out here looking good. Okay. So definitely please go to bit.ly/defend22. Sign up, get trained. And we really would just love to have you be a part of us. And like I said, we are looking for you, for everyone. These are for folks who are like, well, I know I'm going to vote. I'm already planning to vote. I already told my family to vote. We all have plans. I got my mail-in ballot or I got my plan to vote early. Great. There's more work for you to do.
Come on.
And that means showing up, getting trained, getting organized, and being a part of this movement, because it doesn't stop after election day, right? We saw in 2020 what we needed to do was to make sure that not just the ballots got cast, but that they got counted and that they got certified. So we will be there. We will be there all the way through the process, and we need y'all to be there with us. So we're working with organizations in these states to get volunteers trained up. to get volunteers the information that they need to go to the right polling locations to support their communities. And then we're going to make sure that you understand what's going on in the days after Election Day. Just like in 2020, we're not going to know the results of the election on election night. I kind of think those days are gone, fam. I think that those days are gone, and that's good news. That means that more people are doing mail-in ballots. That means that more people are showing up. There's more votes to count, and that's okay. But we, just so that you know, we will be there with you all the way, starting from ballots cast to certification and anywhere in between, making sure that you get the information that you need and making sure that you're prepared, and that the organizations that need support in these places where they might be facing different threats are getting the resources that they need.
Love that. And do y'all feel the community and the intentional nature of this? And thank you again for connecting the dots and helping us understand that it's not just about voting, it's about them being counted and then being certified. And to close the loop on that, because in January, the January 6th situation was because they did not want to certify, right? So thank you so much for helping us understand why our election defense is critical and reminding us that we save us. Shout out to Ange, to AP for your leadership, your grace, and most importantly, your sisterhood.
Shout out to you, Cici. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the team. Thank you for hosting this conversation, bringing your beauty, your glow, your curls to this conversation. And just again, thank you all for joining us. We really need each and every one of you. If you already know that you're voting, there's more work for you to do. Come be an election defender. Throw down with us.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right, to wrap things up, just to make sure that y'all have the information one more again, please text the Frontline to 30403 and attend an election defender training. And again, you can sign up at bit.ly/defend22. As a reminder, the trainings, the first responder trainings are on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. We have one on October 25th and another one on November 1st. If you want to level it up and get a de-escalation trainings, they're offered in two parts. The first part is on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So that'll be October 26th and November 2nd. And then the second part is on Sundays at 3 p.m. So that's October 30th and November 6th. And finally, our next mass call will be Thursday, November 3rd, where we'll be hearing directly from grassroots partners from around the country, including Hillary Holy from Care in Action. Thank you so much for joining us. Be well and go frolic. Peace, y'all.